Hey, sweet. All right, listen. Bree, thank you so much for joining in today. I'm super stoked to have you here to be chatting with everything. I wanted to start, though, with a couple just warm up, like rapid fire questions. Does that sound good?
Absolutely. Hit me with them.
All right, sweet. If you could only have one loadout and the rest got deleted, what's the loadout that you're bringing?
Oh my gosh, to Caldera?
Yeah.
Um, I think I would have to go back to like the Cold War meta with the AUG and the FFAR. The double AR meta was definitely my favorite.
Mm. All right. What's your pre-stream ritual?
Usually in the morning, I get up, I instantly get out of bed, and I have to let my dog out because I have a dog and I have two cats. Let her go to the restroom, get up, drink a glass of water, and I turn on streams. Whoever's live on Twitch, usually it's Mutex, Symphony, or Kaylee. I watch them while I get ready, and once I get ready, I just hop on stream.
Does that hype you for the stream? See some others as you're going out?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that it kind of, like, sets the tone for the day because,
Mm.
like, I feel like if they're having, like, a weird day with, like, cheaters or stream snipers or whatever, I kinda get, like, how Warzone's gonna be for that day because I feel like it changes on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah.
so and I also just like to watch some content before I get rolling to try to see if I can implement anything new to my stream or like, "Hey, I saw this idea this morning, so I'm gonna do
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
today,"
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I always like looking at titles and things and see like, okay, well, what are other people trying to do? Maybe I could get, try that loadout or whatever. Yeah. That's awesome. What's the happiest moment that you've had so far this year?
Oh, man. That's actually a really tough question. I think the happiest moment so far was whenever I launched my website and my own apparel brand on Monday. That was definitely like the biggest thing I've ever done for my brand, and I think it was definitely a big day.
Yeah. That's freaking awesome. And I'm sure we'll chat more about that as we get in here as well. Um, what's your favorite liquid to drink while you're streaming?
Water, without a doubt.
Just 24/7. Do you ever have caffeine or anything with the streams?
Usually I drink like some sneak in the morning while I'm getting started, but I don't think I have it in here with me. I have a gallon jug that I got from Amazon, and I try to drink a gallon of water a day because hydration is key. But my
Yeah.
chat actually makes fun of me for it because of how big how big my jug is, but usually I'm just drinking water all day.
Do you have a straw out of it or something, or is it just a giant jug you
It
chug it
does have
from?
a straw. The
Okay.
straw is probably as long as the bottle itself. It's massive.
Who would you say is the person that supports you the most?
Definitely my girlfriend. Her name is Abby, and since day one, when I started my journey, she has been literally my backbone through all of it. And my mom supports me very much too, but moms always usually support their kids' dreams.
That's awesome. No, it's super great to have that support. Now, if you could collab with any non-gaming celebrity, who would that be?
Oh man. These are some tough rapid fire questions you're throwing at me this morning. Honestly, it would probably be like my favorite rapper. His name is Kyle. He just, constantly radiates positivity, good vibes. I've been a fan of him for a very long time, and I think it would just be an amazing experience to get the vibe out with him.
Yeah, nonstop vibes and content. I love that. It's kind of weird if you play with like a non-gaming person too, or maybe they even do game and you don't know it. But no, I love the insight there. That's awesome.
That's like seeing Post Malone stream with Timmy on
Yeah,
Apex the other day. I was completely blown away that that actually happened, but I watched a little bit of the stream and it was a really fun time.
yeah. The thing that blew up that I saw from it was like he had like 300, 400,000 crafting material, which is like he just opened every pack in the entire in the entire world to open that thing up. That's great.
Crazy.
Sweet. Well, that was some of the rapid fire ones I wanted to touch on. I mean, feel free to treat these as rapid too, or however you want to answer it. But that was a little bit of a little warm up on that I wanted to do. It's been reported that after 2 decades of yearly releases, the Call of Duty franchise, they're going to be taking a break for 2023. Obviously, you play a lot of Warzone, a lot of Call of Duty in general. What are your thoughts on that? And Do you think it's needed for them to take the break? What do you think?
In regards to that, I think it could go two ways, or it will go two ways. So for the player base, I think at first we're all gonna be kind of like weirded out, you know, thrown for a loop, considering we're used to a Call of Duty release every single November or December for the past like however many
Yeah, like
years.
15 years or something.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I would get the Call of Duty game every year for Christmas. The newest one that came out, like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops, every
Yep.
single year I would get a new game. So, that's definitely going to be weird. I think that players are going to get bored. Especially if, the developers aren't implementing good updates, good content updates, things like that with especially with Warzone because it gets in these stale points, I feel.
Yeah.
And then, they'll implement an update for a while. It'll be good for a month or two, and then the game just gets old again. But on the flip side, I feel like not having that pressure to constantly push out a game every single year, it gives a little bit more breathing room to actually fix issues within Warzone. Because I feel like Warzone is definitely the biggest thing that most people play because it's a free to play battle royale game. People do play multiplayer, Call of Duty League, stuff like that, play multiplayer, but honestly, I think focusing on the bigger bugs and issues within Warzone is gonna really blow it up.
And
I think it's a good thing.
do you think then for your content, like I mean, mainly you play Warzone anyways. Do you think that's going to be them refocusing on Warzone during all of that year, and of course the new Call of Duty that's coming out at the end of this year, like for all of 2023?
Yeah, I definitely think that, and I think also giving this little, like, year break or so they're dropping a Call of Duty this year, right? And then next
Yep,
year, they're not dropping one.
exactly. Hmm.
So, I guess we'll see how this year's drop goes, but I think it'll give yeah, like you said, like, a lot of time to just really focus on polishing and mastering Warzone because I think it could go above and beyond what it's at right now,
Do you think it's
and
do you think it's trouble that like Call of Duty is saying that we're not releasing this game because it has been 15 years of them constantly releasing one? Is that like, oh shoot, there's problems ahead? Do you see that as a problem even for, mainly focusing on Call of Duty with your own content? Are you thinking like, oh, maybe I should even consider other games, or are you more optimistic with like that focus for the next year from it and in the franchise for it?
I think I'm definitely gonna stay optimistic with it. Over the past really since Caldera dropped, we've already seen a lot of improvements. I feel like they're actually starting to listen to their player base. So again, like without the pressure of constantly having to push out a new game,
Yeah.
even with Vanguard, when Vanguard dropped, it wasn't polished. Like compare like Vanguard to Modern Warfare
Oh,
2019,
I know.
the
Yeah.
games are completely different.
Yeah, and even how they implemented it into Warzone, let alone even just looking at the multiplayer side of it, or even the zombie side of it, which that I don't go super deep into all of it, but I know that
Mhm.
community's really been on edge with some of that, and I guess how it goes. Um,
Yeah.
Sweet. I guess in your opinion, what's the most slept on loadout in Warzone?
Oh man, honestly, I've been running the Vanguard Car 98. A lot of people hate the
Really?
Vanguard snipers. Oh yeah, it is crazy good. I honestly hated it at first until I think I picked one up off of like one off the ground or something like that, and I was popping off. I mean, I was having a good time. It's super fun. It aims down sights super quick, and if you pair it with a good SMG, I've been running the well gun just like everybody
Yeah.
else has recently, but it's fun, man. The Car 98 is really good once you get used to it.
I've like completely written off the Vanguard. I've tried all the snipers. I couldn't. I just like my SPR. I like something consistent. I know that one very well, but maybe this is just me being old man Stone Mountain now, and it's just like maybe I gotta venture to that in particular. I tried a little bit of the Type 99, but I haven't put too much. I just got so many hit markers with it. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was definitely the same way at first. I would rather play like the regular battle royale game mode so I could
Yeah,
still use the Modern Warfare Car 98 and the Swiss, but after switching over, and it took me like I think a full day to really get used to like the bullet drop and the lead that you have to do with it. But it's good, man. I'll send you my loadout if you want.
yeah. Honestly, I'm down. I would love to try it. Um, Back on your channel a little bit more, you recently celebrated your second anniversary on Facebook, February 15th. We even pulled up a photo of your original first setup
Oh
compared
man,
to the epic battle station that you have now. I mean, it's a day and night difference from it. I know there's got to
absolutely.
be a story with this setup. So what is the story?
Oh man. So I actually purchased my very first PC that I used to stream off of from a friend of ours that we met through, funny enough, another Facebook streamers community. So we would play supporter games together, and we would play games like later on in the evenings after we all got off work. Just living our adult 9 to 5 life, coming home, playing Fortnite on my old PS4. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this PC and I'm gonna start streaming. So it got delivered by FedEx or something like that. I was so excited to open up the box, man. I was like, yes, my first PC. And I opened the box and the glass panel from like on the case shattered completely in the box.
Oh my
I
god.
guess my friend that packaged it and sent it out didn't package it well enough.
Yeah.
So I was so bummed. I was like, "Oh my gosh, how am I gonna get a replacement case?" But, I was just like, "Whatever, I'll handle that later." I plugged it up without a glass panel on it.
Yeah, this photo, it doesn't look like it has the panel on it now that
It
you mention
doesn't.
that. Oh my
It doesn't.
gosh.
And I tried to contact the PC company. I think it was like an iBuyPower PC or something
Yeah.
like that. And they're like, "Well, if you don't have the warranty or the receipt, we can't send you a replacement." So I was like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna use this computer without a glass case on it or whatever." So I literally used that PC without a cover on it until I actually upgraded to my next one.
That is awesome. And then, so what was the evolution of your setup then after that? Like, did you just go, all right, this computer worked for like how long before, or did you kind of piecemeal things together as you were streaming over the years?
So my first within my first couple months, I think first 2 months on Facebook, I think I got my first paycheck from Facebook and it was like, a couple $100 and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can upgrade my PC." Cuz as a streamer or a beginner streamer, you're constantly I feel like chasing the next best thing for your stream, new mic, new monitor, whatever, and I basically treated it as like a Frankenstein computer. I slowly upgraded. I think I bought a new case because my other one was busted, of course, and I got a new graphics card, just something to make because I think when I first started streaming Warzone on that old PC, I got like 50 FPS in game while streaming.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
miserable. The streams
Yeah,
looked
it's tough compared
atrocious.
to like, especially if you're on PC, you're trying to compete at the highest level for it. It's like that's a tough thing to pull off with.
Yeah, it was atrocious. And as months went by, weeks went by, or whatever, I just slowly started piecing things together to get me to the bare minimum where I could play at a decent frame rate and the stream would still look good where I can stream and game on the same PC without dropping frames and still stream in 1080p things like that. But
And then
yeah.
now, I mean, now describe your setup for people of like what you're running, why you have the monitors or whatever you have set up the way you do.
Oh man. So my setup now is definitely massive. I think whenever I posted that photo that you're talking about, I actually took a step back and I was like, "Holy, I have a lot of stuff." I have a lot of stuff. So I have 4 monitors. I have a gaming monitor, like for my game, of course, and then I have a monitor above that for like Discord or a browser or whatever else I need to pull up on my game PC. And then I have 2 vertical monitors mounted to my left and my right, one for OBS Studio and like alerts and things like that. And then my right monitor is solely for my Facebook dashboard and my chat. Those vertical monitors, I feel like for me are really important because you can see more of the chat
Yeah.
whenever it's vertical. So I have a gaming PC, a streaming PC, both from Stints Built. I actually just hooked up my brand new Stints Built PC yesterday. It's a beast.
Heck
This
yeah.
thing is like I think he said it weighs like 70 pounds. It's massive. It's got a 3080 Ti in it. Yeah, it's massive. But
Are you still
for the
going to
most
keep that on
part,
your desk?
oh, yeah, so I was kinda scared to put it on my desk when I first picked it up because I have, like, an IKEA desk that I built with 2 sawhorses and then, like, a tabletop,
Yeah.
and the tabletop is not really good quality, I mean, it's very lightweight, so I was like, "Oh my gosh, am I gonna be able to put this big PC
Yeah.
on my desk?" So I actually had to set it directly on top of a sawhorse to keep it from warping my warping my tabletop.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I just want to take a little pause from the episode to tell you about an amazing opportunity that we have. Stone's going to share a little more details, but if you're interested in growing your stream, then listen to what he has to say.
Did you know there's a proven way to grow your stream? I get that growing your audience can feel impossible. I've been there, but I'm here to tell you that with the right framework, it's not only possible, I try and make it as simple as possible. I spent the last 10 years learning how to hone my craft, and I've distilled the most important things that I've learned into a 1-hour free live training session. I'm gonna be talking about the most important things that you should be focusing on to create amazing content, grow your audience, and to monetize. You shouldn't be working hard and not seeing results. I wanna save you from working on the stuff that isn't really moving the needle for you. There's a proven framework that every streamer uses to grow. It might be in different ways, but I'll even show you examples of how it's worked with many new creators. So what's the secret? Stay tuned for the session, find out. Spots are even limited, so make sure to save it now, and I hope to see you there.
Just click the link in the episode description to register. So when you did decide to go full time, what was that aha moment for you? What was that decision for you of like, I'm going to create content full time?
So for me, I think going full time was a little bit different for like maybe some people. So when I first started streaming, I kind of set it as like a hobby while I was laid off work because I started streaming like at the peak of the pandemic. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it a little, make a little bit extra money, whatever." And it actually turned out to be like I was making substantial money my first like 3-4 months of streaming. And my girlfriend at the time, like she was still working full time. We were good on like finances and things like that. And whenever I started making more money streaming, like the first couple months than I would at my regular job, that's whenever we sat down, we had to talk about finances and things like that. I was like, do you think I could actually not go back to work for a little while? Try this out, really dive into it and full send it and see if I can actually make this something successful. And I think when the realization finally hit was probably whenever I got partnered. I think that was definitely the moment when I really needed to lock it in and actually start,
And
working a little bit harder.
so was that like, you mentioned you're laid off, you're spending a lot of time creating content anyways. Is that you deciding I'm not going to go look for another opportunity anymore and just strictly like, okay, this is when I'm doubling down on the content creation?
Yeah, pretty much. So after a few months when I started, I was growing at a pretty consistent rate.
Yeah.
Facebook was I don't want to say Facebook was still new, so this was like 2 years ago. So, I was growing at a pretty consistent rate. I think I was averaging like 10 to 15 viewers. I was making, decent money from getting paid out on Facebook. And my job pretty much, hit me up and they were like, "Hey, you still have a job here if you want to come back to work. We're opening back up, blah, 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 blah,
Uh-huh.
blah."
Uh-huh.
And I just knew with the way like the pandemic still was, and I lived 45 minutes away from work. I waited tables. I worked at a restaurant. So I was basically just making tips pretty much. And I knew that the way things were working with COVID and things like that, that I wasn't going to be making enough to really justify me going back to work and driving
Mhm.
45 minutes to and from every day.
Mm.
So I pretty much just said, I'm going to full send into this streaming thing. And if it doesn't work out, well, I still have a job, basically, is what I asked my boss. And he was like, "Well, of course, you're one of our best workers, yada, 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 whatever." And so they had my back. And I said, "Okay, well, I'll check back in if I need to come back to work," pretty much. And I never went back.
Yeah. I mean, what's your feeling around that? Like going full time? Did you feel nervous? Like, how was your head even emotionally deciding with that thought process of, okay, I'm gonna be creating content, and like this is my job.
It was definitely scary for a lot of reasons. When I first started, I didn't realize exactly how up and down it could be,
Yeah.
in regards to just growth, finances, things like that. I didn't understand that because I was still very new. So of course I was scared because I didn't want to make a decision that could impact my girlfriend and I negatively in the future. Like, let's say, oh, I start streaming for a year and then it absolutely tanks, and for some reason I can't find a job, you know,
Yeah.
some stuff like that definitely was going through my head. But also, I kind of just tried to put that negativity and that negative stuff to the side because I knew that I had the skill and I knew that I could um basically work as hard as I had to succeed and make it work. And I literally let it consume me for a
Yeah.
year and a half before I really took a step back and said, "Okay, Bree, you've really, you know, achieved a lot. You've done a lot. You're pretty successful. You can actually take a step back and take a day off a week, you know,
Breathe a
because I
little bit.
wasn't even taking time off really."
Yeah. And I mean, what was that even? So it was taking more time off for you? Was that spending more time with the girlfriend, like just relaxing more in general as you're going through? Are you still, what was that?
Yeah, it was definitely because, like I said, I literally let it consume me. From the time I woke up
Yeah.
to the time I went to bed, I was streaming, watching streams, learning things from other streamers. I mean, you, Rudy, Rex, Tim, I literally took things from each of you and kind of balled it up and figured out how to make it my own,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Oh,
I mean,
100%. It
I
absolutely
was
does.
just trying my hardest to learn, grow, stream, push out clips, put out VODs, highlight reels, anything that I could do. Because at the time I felt like if I wasn't working and if I wasn't streaming and putting out that content, then somebody else was, and I was putting myself at a disadvantage.
And
So,
I think sometimes people even think like, oh man, this can be even the way you're describing it, like, yeah, it's a lot of work figuring that out, putting time into it. But at the same time, like, how much did you love or hate or prefer or dislike, whatever, versus what you were doing before and putting all the work into it? You know what I'm
oh
saying?
man. Yeah, so before, like I said, I was like, you know, are you talking about like my previous job? That's
Your
what you're
previous job, your
okay.
previous schooling, I mean, like, whatever that means, it's like, how did you feel like this was overwhelming? Were you enjoying the process of waking up every night, like the entire day dedicated to content, to audience, to grow, to figuring out what you want to do with your channel? Like, yeah,
Yeah, it was exciting. I was definitely happy because first things first, I didn't have to drive 45 minutes to go to work every day.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
a plus because, you know, I like being at home. I hate commuting. I hate driving.
sure,
Um, I didn't necessarily enjoy dealing with the rude people in public that you know, at restaurants. I hated it. Um, because you kind of just have to smile and wave and then walk away. You can't really, because
sure,
on stream, if somebody says something to you that's rude or, you know, is disrespectful, you can just ban them and you don't have to deal with it anymore. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
in a
yeah, sure,
restaurant, you have
yeah.
to deal with it.
Or you make it into content, roast them, and then other people are like, hey,
Exactly.
whatever. Like, it's you can have a little bit more fun with it almost.
Exactly. So transitioning, I think, from working for someone else and doing like a
Yeah,
9 to 5, you know, and transitioning to I make my own schedule. I can play video games all day and I'm learning and I'm meeting all of these new people all at once. It literally felt like a dream. Because I knew that like streaming and content creation was a thing, like
right.
growing up, because I was always a gamer growing up. And then I didn't really like truly start learning and locking it in until I started doing it myself and I realized like how much to it there actually is.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now that's awesome. I love to hear where you kind of are with that, and even to your point at the beginning of this is like everybody really does have their own journey with it. There's but it's great to hear your perspective on that as well as like there are some people who even do have uh, a similar story even to that in some ways, but the dedication to the content, the work, and everything like it definitely shows on it. On the topic of building a business about content. Your website just launched a couple days ago. You're starting a merch line. Walk us through how this kind of started. For creators, when is that even a right time is always a question that comes up.
Um for me, I felt like it was the right time just because I had had a few bad experiences with apparel brands in the past. I feel like I wasn't fully in control of what I wanted to do, the money that I was making, the quality of the apparel that my community was receiving. That was the three main things that I was having issues with. And I was brainstorming and I was like, I could honestly do it myself. Like I edit myself. I mean, I pretty much do everything myself anyway, so why couldn't I take a step back, design my website, pick apparel and stuff that is extremely high quality and stuff that my community would love. And so I did it. I mean, I sat down and I designed the website. Well, I had a little bit of help from a graphic designer, of course, but I learned Wix. I learned how to adjust everything on the website and customize everything. I learned how to work the drop shipping site, upload my designs, upload my own photos. So I
Wow.
think there's no like specific time I feel, but for me, I knew that I wanted to kind of take the next step in building a business and building a brand for myself. Um and be bigger than just like a streamer, I
Yeah.
guess, or a content creator. So the goal is to create like a lifestyle brand, a lifestyle apparel brand. I have a few ideas for like future drops and things like that and collabs, but yeah, I don't know.
That's awesome. No, I mean, like, with the other people that you did work with for it, the graphics designers, or even, I guess, even learning the website, like, did you have anybody else that you even did work with in terms of helping to teach you or to, uh, I guess, navigate working with the other designers? Like, how did that flow?
Yeah, so the people that helped me on my website and graphic design, we don't work together anymore just because of just some issues and things like that.
Sure.
But they definitely got me started with the website design and kind of the direction that I wanted to go. And once once we stopped working together, I kind of just took it and put it on my shoulders and I had a hard deadline of when I needed to launch and I basically forced
Mm.
myself to learn how to do it and make it work because if I didn't learn it, I was going to have no help and it wasn't going to launch. So,
Yeah, that's
it
the
was a
thing.
do or
Even
die situation pretty much.
even working with editors, even working with, it's not always your vision, especially if you're trying to build something off the initiation of it. A lot of times you kind of want to create what is in your mind and then work with other people on it. Sometimes that driving force has to come from you on it. And it sounds to me like that was how it went for you. It's kind of like, okay, this is what I want from it. How do I create it? Well, I'm going to have to do some of it myself, or at least build those fundamental tools to where then you can get people to help you later on, I would assume.
Yeah, and I actually just went through like a huge rebrand. It wasn't really a rebrand. It was more so like when I first started streaming, my logo was a bee because it was like Bree Easy, Bree Hive was like my community that I called us.
Yeah.
And but once we really started gaining traction on, on Facebook especially, growing the stream and then growing on social media, on Twitter, I felt like that logo and that branding just wasn't clicking with like say if I wanted to do any collabs with brand deals or anything like that. It's
Sure.
extremely hard to make that work and make it like have an aesthetic, I guess.
Yeah.
So I really just sat back and brainstormed on some things that I felt like I would look good and would match my personality, I guess. And so we actually just went through a rebrand. My logo or whatever is just my name in a signature font. That's like the overall theme of the website. It's very minimalistic, very clean, and I feel like it can go a long way in regards to like apparel, and just overall aesthetic of all my websites and brands and things like that.
I mean, can you distill that down of like how you figured that out over the time for, especially for even other people that are trying to figure it out? Because there's something that even for me, like I changed my logo after a few years. I used to do all my own graphics design stuff. Some of it looked okay, a lot of it was really janky, but I had to learn Photoshop, learn a lot of these things. And then there was kind of another iteration I did years on. Um, but how you kind of distilled that down or figured some of that out?
Um, yeah, so I think the first time I actually decided like maybe I should, go a different route in regards to the way my brand looks and alerts and cam box. It all started with a revamp that I got done for my stream because when I got my work done by Get Wrecked Labs and it was like one of the coolest things I've ever done. New alerts, new cam box, new scene, everything. It was massive for the stream. And everything turned out perfectly. I loved it. And then I looked at it for a couple months and I was just like, I feel like this doesn't this isn't me anymore.
Mm,
You know, if it's not, this brand is not me. I don't like the colors. I don't like the aesthetic. I just don't like it. And so I took everything off my stream. You know, I took all the alerts off, all the cam boxes. It was literally my camera. And then that was pretty much it, like my logos and sponsors and things like that. And when I started working on the website, I knew that I didn't want to have that bee and honey and red and yellow and blue, all that stuff, because it's very tacky. I feel like it was very tacky. It's going to be very hard for me. Let's say if I wanted to go to my controller sponsor and say, hey, can we do a custom collaboration?
mm,
It's very difficult to make it look good with that flashy of, you know, that flashy of a logo. So like if I want to really make this work and develop myself and present myself as not only a content creator and a streamer, but as a brand, I'm really going to have to simplify this down, make it look good, make it look clean, professional, and still encompass like my personality and the kind of things that I like.
sure. Yeah. And you mentioned earlier as well on the topic of kind of networking and collaboration. You've actually collaborated with many different streamers. What have you learned through the process of that in terms of reaching out or even working with other people, and even if people reaching out to you? What has worked best, and what have you noticed?
The biggest thing I think that has worked for me is, let's say so I'm going to go back to the main story that I always tell everyone is whenever I first started playing games with Rudy, Muggs, Audio Freak, and Darkness, Rexzilla, like the main like dude squad on Warzone whenever it was really popping off.
Yeah.
I spent so much time in their streams just interacting, asking questions, chatting, getting to know their content, who they are as people, what they like, what they don't like, what kind of games they like. I mean, literally just building a genuine friendship and
Yeah.
relationship with those people, because not only does that kind of help you get to know them, they know you, right? They know you because you're interacting every day. You're building that friendship. So whenever you do reach out, whenever I reached out to Rudy, it was not so much of a, hey, let's collab and do a co-stream. It
Sure.
was like, hey, do you want to play games today?
Yeah.
And it just worked. I jumped in Discord with them. Of course, I was a little nervous, you know, I was a little nervous. Like we all get nervous when we play with, you know, people that we
Yeah.
watch and look up to. I feel like it's a normal thing. But building those genuine friendships makes it 10 times easier to actually work together and collab and create content together, because I have people that like message me on Twitter or even come into my stream that I've never seen. I don't know who they are. I don't know their content. I don't know if we would vibe together.
Right.
And they're like, "Hey, do you want to collab and co-stream?" And you know, I don't
It's
know
hard.
you. So it's
Right.
hard to say yes to something that if I have someone that's been in my chat for 3 months hit me up and say, "Hey, do you want to play games?" I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, man, let's play some games. I know you. You're totally cool."
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of finding what works, and then it's also an
Mhm.
understanding that there is something actually organic there, because you wouldn't spend the time there if you didn't actually enjoy the content or who they
Absolutely.
were or what it was. And it's like that's the thing too, is like even things that I found, it's like the typically it's I love somebody's content, they like my content, and it's like boom, that makes such a fun, or and then it's fun for the audience too, because sometimes they've seen both of the content or whatever it might be, and it's like, oh, heck, this okay, let's see where this goes. Now I know kind of some of these perspective. What's it look like coming together off of it? That's really awesome.
That's the biggest thing. I mean, I feel like having that organic chemistry is key for anyone. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, there are some co-streams that work just because both of the people are outspoken and funny and high energy. I mean, I spend a lot of time. Like, I just recently got the opportunity to play with Z for my 2-year streaming anniversary. It was a trip just because of the amount of energy that he brings to the table, right? So, I mean, it was phenomenal.
And
Of course, we
sometimes
haven't,
that's a fun
you know,
dynamic too, right? And then especially again, even for like audiences who have seen both of the different perspectives, and even if they don't know each other, to see them come together, and then what are those reactions? What is the synergy? How is that even first experience with it? Uh, that's a lot of fun as well to watch. I know even from watching even just different artists collaborate with each other, or what, or musicians, whatever. See some of those things happen is always fun. So it's 2022, already a few months in. What are some of your big content goals for the rest of the year?
I definitely want to keep expanding my brand in regards to like the website and the apparel.
Yeah.
That's definitely like one of my main goals. I want to keep continuing to grow on Twitter and social media because I feel like having that social media presence really just amplifies everything. I feel like it's really important to have that social media presence. And for me, honestly, just continuing to work hard and grow in the Warzone competitive scene because that's really the direction that I've been trying to go for the past year and a half.
Yeah.
Playing in 2v2 tournaments and kill race tournaments and just really working hard every day to get better, improve in every single way possible. Definitely just I think by the end of the year I'm hoping to like maybe look at like maybe an org, I think that would be an amazing goal. I think that I have a lot to offer. Um Many different organizations just with my content and my personality and my brand and things like that.
Yeah. Well, that is awesome. I have definitely seen clips. I've definitely seen you're absolutely popping off in tournaments as well. So definitely keep that up. And thank you for your time. Thank you for joining in today. If people want to keep listening to you, find out more about you, where should they go?
It's going to be on Facebook. I stream every day, 8 a.m. Eastern time, fb.gg/itsfreeeasy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us for the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I wanted to just end this with a little bit of context on why we do what we do. We're former content creators ourselves, and we just really want to help as many content creators as we can. That's why we started Pipeline.gg. It's a platform where you can find other like-minded creators and learn from the pros who've already been there. Get step-by-step guidance so you can avoid all the mistakes that we made in the beginning. If you love the episode, there's going to be even more inside of Pipeline. So check it out. Head over to Pipeline.gg.